So Horizon Zero Dawn sold 10 million, over 10 million within the course of 2 years. Today being the anniversary of Horizon's release 2 years ago. That's the 28th of February. And things are looking so bright for this game. This is actually my favorite game of the generation. Honestly, I've logged in like I think 600 hours of this game. It's not that it is endless content. It's just I go in there, I shoot a couple machines, and then I feel good about it. I like exploring the world, and I like to marvel at what Guerrilla Games has accomplished. Not because they made first-person shooters, but just in general. Like their technical wizardry is just off the fucking meter. It's off. It's just so good. It's so good. Excuse my French, but it is that damn good. So that being said, I wanted to commemorate today's anniversary. What my thoughts on where this actual series and franchise will go, and personally my secret desires. So leave in the comments what you believe, what you think of my analyses, and just what you would like in this franchise if you're a big fan like me. So let's get this started. I want to break this up into gameplay. Well, I want to break it up gameplay. Things that I think that Aloy should have in a sequel, outfits, the combat, environments, in addition, multiplayer, co-op. So let's get started with the graphics. I don't know. They have a very particular art style, and it borders realism and surrealism. Some things can look really dreamy, just super dreamy, hyper. It's not like it's a hyper realistic, but it looks, I don't know, like it's so potent. I mean, you can see it here. It's a very potent looking game. It invokes so much feeling when you look at it. It's very dreamy. That's the word I want to say. It's very dreamy. It's dreamy. So how can you possibly capitalize on that? Like, how can you possibly make this game look better than what it is? And I believe in the sequel, they're going to change the art style up just a little bit. I think they're going to probably lean more into the realistic. Because you have like very small details in Horizon Zero Dawn, but I think tattered clothing and I feel like there's going to be a lot more detail in the textures and characters and things of that nature. Maybe some more moving parts. Definitely. I mean, just look at it. I'm looking at it now as I'm talking to you, and it's just very hard to see. I mean, animations is one thing, but like it's very hard to see what they're going to do with this game graphically. But I think it's going to be more minuscule details in the game because they got the polygons, they got the high density polymeshes down packed. Like they fucking nailed it. But that's what I think. It's going to be a more realistic art style where things doesn't look so stylized. Definitely, I think that's what they're going to do. Speaking of realistic aspects of the game, I think that for Aloy, at least this is what I want. I do like the infinite stamina. She can run, forever. But I do want outfits to kind of impact her stamina or movement speed or something of that nature. Conversely, I would like the food that she eats. Like, when you hunt. And the hunting needs to be a little better, I would say. But when you hunt and you get like the rabbit meat and stuff like that, I think some of those should buff her movements or strength and things of that nature. But for Aloy herself in general, I would like her to be able to. I would like for them to expand on the the override feature, more commands, stuff to, I don't know if she can whistle differently or whatever you want to call it, but stuff like you can have the machine follow you rather than just, you just kind of set it and forget it, and you just basically the machines are just passive essentially, and they attack things that attack you. I don't necessarily want that to be that simple and that simplistic. So definitely more options for overriding. Um, you know, and climbing too. So that goes into like the realism. Um, if it looks like she can climb it, she should be able to climb it. I mean, I know what they were doing. They were trying to create like a linear experience in a open world game. But I feel like more freedom. She needs to be able to climb things that are realistic, or I'm sorry, things that she realistically should be able to climb, and not like these sections where it's it's not forced, but it's like you have to climb there. You can only climb in this particular area. It's like leading you to just climb this area, and they're like, I think that if she sees something that's like mountainous, she should be able to climb it, and they should have the animations appropriate for it. I think that they need to have like platforming in general. There should be, and I'll get into this in a little bit of the video, but she should be able to definitely platform. Um, and it would add more diversity to the gameplay. Like, areas where there's an actual impending doom if you don't if you don't hit the actual jump properly. I think that definitely needs to be there. A sense of danger, kind of like old school Tomb Raider. I think if they do that, this probably will be the best game of my life if they are able to accomplish that. I think she needs also like a spot where she could, like a home or hideout where she could like essentially put items into a stash, something like what you're looking at right now. She needs to have her own home where she can, because there was like these scrap metals that you could trade in, but it was taking a lot of my inventory, and I feel like that would go on hand in hand with better inventory management. So definitely like a little hideout or spot. Better crafting system as well. They have the foundation, but let's say like you have a slingshot or something like that. You need to have something that can make it go further into the distance. Changes properties, instead of it being like just an explosion or sticky, maybe it can be like shrapnel or concussion or something of that nature. More variety and the like. So I would love for that to be in the game. I think, and it's funny too, if you read like some of the data points and they talk about the red raids, essentially there was just like this period of time where they had like a sort of coliseum situation going on there. I feel like, well, I read as well, basically you had a coliseum where there was a machine that you would fight, and they talked about certain warriors that would jump onto the machines and latch on and stuff like that. That'd be so freaking cool if they can do that. That'd be amazing if they can manage to do that shit. So yeah, so I would love that. Let me take a look here. I already said, oh yeah, well, I'll touch up on it again. Food, like she just picked up a mushroom of some sort. Some of these things that give you more incentive just beyond health, maybe make you run a little faster, you know what I mean? Maybe make you a little stronger for the combat system that they most likely want to upgrade, which I'll get into that in just a little bit. That would be so like involving and make everything just that much more deep. Moving on to outfits. The outfits are pretty cool. Obviously, we want to mix and match and things of that nature. We don't want just a standard outfit. Like, you know what I mean? If I just want to have the plain shirt, let me have the plain shirt and something else. or mix and match tribal, clothing and stuff like that if I wanted to. You know what I mean? And then speaking of the graphics, you see how he looks. Um, and this is their art style. It's not hyper realistic. It's stylized. They're not quite realistic, but they have a lot of details. I think they're going to definitely go the route of a more realistic situation there. But anyway, going back on. I'm sorry, I'm off topic. Uh, I feel like the outfits, you should have outfits more, not just the mods that affects it, but like the actual outfits. You play like what do you call it? The DLC, and she's obviously in a super super cold area. She should not be wearing clothes like this. It should definitely affect her, either take away health or your stamina is completely ruined. You can't move until you change it. If you have the appropriate like clothes, then it'll go back to infinite stamina. But if you don't, you're gonna have to change up the clothes and stuff like that. I think that would be pretty cool. And I mentioned some things about combat too. They mentioned in one of the documentaries that for combat, they actually the actual like human combat was outpacing the machine combat, and they kind of like left it like as it is. You could tell what they were trying to do too, because you have heavy and light attacks and stuff like that, and then when you roll, it causes different animations and things of that nature. So you can clearly tell where they were trying to go with it. You know what I mean? So, basically add a blocking mechanic along with a lock-on mechanic and dodge, and allow for different melee weapons and things like that. I think that'd be fucking cool. I think it'd be awesome. But that's all for the combat. Let's talk about the environments. There's many times where I was in the jungle and I wish I had some sort of flare or flashlight or something of that nature because it's dark. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but it'd be cool if you have different moon cycles where it's actually dark and you're like, oh shit, like I need something to light my way because the moon is definitely not out. I think that'd be really cool. To have flares and stuff like that. I mentioned earlier as well, they should have platforming sections. Not automated sections where she latches onto, or it's just completely an automated action. It should be some sort of danger where if you mess up the jump, that's it, that's your ass, you're dead. You know what I mean? I think that they should really do things like that. More interiors, almost like tombs. You know what I mean? 'Cause I kind of feel like this is the new Tomb Raider for me, at least. I like the character, you know what I mean? She's very agile and stuff like that. But make it, to me, I think it needs to be made more like the old school Tomb Raiders, where you have these interiors where you have like little puzzle things that you need to do, and these interiors, and it adds more variety to it. That'd be cool. Also, more weather variation. Lightning, Guerrilla Games, lightning. I would love to see lightning. I would love to see the weather actually cause some sort of status effect to your character. Like if it's a real bad storm, snowstorm, definitely should take away health. Maybe you need to find, just like in Breath of the Wild, you need to find some kind of food to keep your temperature high and stuff like that. I think that'd be really awesome. Again, it adds the depth and it makes the world more alive, So that's how I would tackle it. I know they can do it. And let's talk about multiplayer, actually. Everybody heard that Guerrilla Games were kind of inspired by Monster Hunter. And now Guerrilla Games, you have like a template. They have a Monster Hunter for the consoles and things like that. And you got so much rich like lore with your game. You know what I mean? Be able to latch onto your enemies just like you have in the data points. You have characters doing that, and you're reading about it. You have different classes and tribal. You can put different classes in there because you have different tribes, and each tribe have their own weapons, as you know in the game. They have their own clothing, and they have their own. They have their own weapons. You have the Banuk with their particular weapons. Usually, it's like spears and things of that nature. And you have the Carja with their knives, etc. You know where I'm going at. It'd be really cool to incorporate that in the co-op. Make sure that the single player is completely independent of the multiplayer, whether it be co-op or just regular co-op or actually PvP. So you don't have to force Aloy into a situation where it's not part of her personality. So, be able to latch onto enemies and take the armor off, because it looks like when you play the DLC, the armor is very hard to remove from these machines. You have to really think outside the box to remove them. Good stuff there. So, and then on top of it too, Sony and Guerrilla Games could be making bank, and I care about them making bank because Sony is really good at money management in terms of their games. So they usually invest in these developers, and if the developers are making money, they give them more freedom, which I like. You know what I mean? So that's why, I would say, do monthly machine or releases for DLC, things of that nature. That way, I've heard too in one of the documentaries, they like to make the machines. They love it. This will give them an avenue to make different machines. I mean, it's fucking endless the way that they have it set up. And last but not least, actual PvP multiplayer. Once again, you have the classes. I think it should be more along the lines of like a Dark Souls, you know what I mean? Or Bloodborne or anything like that, where you have the actual, melee combat where you can dodge and you can lock on and things like that, along with, your ranged attacks and stuff like that. But you have these different classes and these different tribes, which would be categorized into classes. That's amazing. You have it there. It's right there. Oh, the possibilities are endless. Like I'm telling you, like, I'm a huge fucking fan of Horizon Zero Dawn and Guerrilla Games. I still play Shadowfall to this day. So Guerrilla Games, if you're looking at this video, please, if you can implement half of this shit, I'll be ever so grateful. Just realize, like, I'm a huge fan of your games. I love your art style. I love your gameplay. I like your mentality of how you create your games. This is literally like my favorite game this generation. Love the story. But yeah, you can have these things. Like, you look at Uncharted too. Uncharted has a co-op system, and then you have the multiplayer system, and then you have the single player system. So they can do it for sure. And we just heard that Guerrilla Games has hired some people that did Siege. So either you're making another Killzone, or you're making some sort of multiplayer for this game. I doubt that you will be making a brand new IP, so it has to be one of those things. Not yet, at least. But yeah, definitely. Let me know. Congratulations, Guerrilla Games. I'll say that. Congratulations on doing your biggest game ever. Congratulations on that. You completely deserve what you earned. You deserved it. And hopefully we'll be able to have like a bigger a game that sells much more than even this game, and a lot faster. You deserve it. You stepped outside the box and you really fucking smashed it. You smashed it. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you liked or disliked about the video, and if you liked it, a sub would be appreciated. Let me know in the comments as well what you think about my little points and stuff like that. I couldn't wait to make this video because of the anniversary, so awesome shit. Peace out, guys.